Welcome to YouTooSpain, broadcasting live to you on YouTube. On today's show, you can get all of the answers to all of your questions about everything in the world, but mainly about moving to Spain and living here. It's the first Ask Us Anything show of 2024. Yippee! Joining me shortly will be my friend and yours, visa and residency specialist, Chris from Upsticks, and he'll also have updates and the latest news from the visa centres in the UK, and probably very much more. He has his finger on the pulse, so there will be lots of groovy information for you all the way through the show. Stick around for the whole thing. Join in with the chat, either live or in the comments below. If you're watching back afterwards, you can treat it as a podcast if you want. Put it on the telly in the background and listen to it while you're having your breakfast or whatever you do. So you are all very welcome to YouTooSpain. Remember to dance to the next bit. Here it comes. Oh yeah, groovy baby. Right then, just before we get chatting, don't forget to sign up for free to the monthly newsletter from the website, YouTooSpain.com. There it is. Lots for you to read and see, and links and resources that you need for your move to Spain and for living there. It's for those of you who prefer to read than to listen. There we go. Or do both, whatever you want. And also, always, we do a quick mention for our wonderful friends at Smart Currency Exchange, who we highly recommend. They've got the best Trustpilot reviews, you know, and I highly recommend them to fix you a forward exchange rate. What on earth does that mean? Well, I'll have Jack Wiggs, our mate from there, back on the show in February to explain, and we'll do like a little webinar there so you can ask all of the questions. But if you need to know in the meantime, use the link below to get in touch with him for free, and you get a free account as well. So you may as well do that straight away in advance. There's no obligation, and it doesn't cost a penny, and it helps YouTooSpain out in the process. As always, it is a win-win-win with a cherry on top. Here we go. So, without further ado, let's welcome a wonderful guest for today. It is Chris from Upsticks. Hola, Chris.
Hola, buenos dias.
Buenos dias. How are you doing?
Yes, not bad, not bad. We're all good after Christmas. Got rid of this dreaded blooming flu that everybody's got.
Yeah, you sound much better today.
Yeah, feeling a lot better. So, I mean, it's been terrible for people, though, the old flu bug, isn't it? It seems to be pretty international as well.
And there's a lot of wheezing and chesty coughs and stuff going on as well. That seems to be slightly different from. And I did the video all about people having to wear masks again. We'll talk about that in the news section. But I also did a description that I got from a medical website of what's the difference between COVID, the flu, and a common cold, because they're all going around at the same time, and you don't know if you've got 1, 2, or 3 of them at the same time, really.
Yeah. I had my test thing came up as flu A but it was only out of coincidence. It was only out of by chance, because when I got sick, I said to Lara, I'll grab some tests, and she came back with the 2 tests, you know, the flu and the COVID one. And it came out because it actually came up flu A. And I was like, oh, that's weird, but yeah, I think that's the strain going on. Yes,
I didn't even put the difference between the different flus, but I don't know how many COVID ones there are as well, because they've been so many, haven't they? And I don't know which ones have survived.
Yeah, but well, they're a lot better now, so that's good.
Good, that is good to know. And yeah, I've stopped wheezing, which is fortunate because I've got a gig tonight. That'll be helpful. I'll be full volume. So we'll do some shout outs. Any of your clients? We've got loads of people on today. And also, thank you. 3 people already have clicked the QR code in the corner up there. I can't point in the right direction, to give a donation to buymeacoffee.com to YouTooSpain. Thank you so much. So your clients, Chris, who have you got?
Well, we've got a load of renewals which came through. So I just wanted to say Christmas was a crazy time for renewals, really. We've got the Chris family, the Bradburys, the Fosters, the Dackers, the Shepherds and the Muirs. They all got their renewals through Malaga. I think we're going to chat about renewals today, aren't we? So I won't go into detail about what they they presented, and then Wendy, Julie, and Jason all got their visas, over the Christmas period as well. So yeah, it's just wanted to give them all a shout out, really.
Brilliant. And Chris has got his microphone, the proper microphone is actually working this week, so I hope it sounds a bit clearer and not quite as hissy as the one he was using before. It was just the one on the computer. So there we go. We're improving all the time.
I thought I was using this one. I was like, yeah, that nice mode. It was only when I was using you as a burglar alarm in our house.
Uh-huh.
Like, I know, because I don't listen to don't watch the videos again afterwards. Mm-hmm. When we go out, we leave the TV on, and I always leave your channel on.
That's fantastic. I'm a burglar alarm.
On loop. Let's get some watch time. Everybody do it. Everybody leave it on loop when you go out. And when I walked in, I went, my microphone sounds terrible. And then that's when I asked you, and I realised this morning that we'd be using the microphone off the camera and not this one.
So success. Mm-hmm. And let's find out who's on the live chat. There's loads today. Wonderful. And Robbo, good morning all. Weather a balmy 1 degrees here in Mortlake, London. Shorts and t-shirt weather not. And Alicante Explorer, morning everyone. We're in Alicante now until mid-February. Yippee! Oh, absolutely. But it's nice out there. Morning all, says Andy Cooper from a sunny, cold Northamptonshire. Very nice. And Ola from Paula Bramble. Hello, Paula. And Patrick O'Connell is on. He had a question from Patrick. We'll cover that later after the midpoint. Paula says, freezing in Portsmouth. Paul Cook. Morning, Skatz and Chris. And we've got Anton Kez on. Happy New Year. F-A-N. What's F-A-N? I don't know. Bonnet Année. And Hands Yellow Heart Red. That's what the thing says. And Paul has put a little dancing person on there. And Martin Lauder, Janet Stanton's on. Morning. Happy New Year, Janet. And she has just started her non-lucrative visa journey with Chris. Tim, yay. And Tim Hawkins, evening all from a hot Sydney. Lovely. What time is it there? It's probably getting on for late at night, isn't it? Looking forward to Spain next month. Wonderful. Alan Lackenby says morning all. JP says morning from Parma. And Patrick says it's 16 degrees in Cochabamba, Bolivia at 5 a.m. Wow. You're watching at 5 o'clock in the morning. Now, there's dedication for you. Lovely. And Jen says, speak with you Wednesday, Chris.
Yeah. Yes. Get your address. I have got a note here, Jen, for your prize as well.
Yes, your wonderful charity raffle prize. So, yeah. You'll speak with Chris about that on your phone call. Lovely. And yes, I want to do some shout outs of people who've watched my video diaries and sent their best wishes and advice. There's probably loads more than this, but I'll just zip down a list. And some of them are the same names I've already said hello to. Robbo, Anton Kez, Yogi, In the Spotlight 123, Chris McMillan, AD Hewitt, Patrick O'Connell again, he's done loads of messages. Steve Knowles, Chopper894, Kev the Argonaut, as always, and CIBI 1968 says, hopes I don't get a hiatus hernia like he did. Although I won't get one of those with the tube from up the bottom, only if you use the tube down the throat. But hopefully I won't need that. And Wendell's 71. Great. Oh, and some people are paired, it says on the live chat. That's because you're probably watching on Upsticks YouTube channel. So that is really, really good. And that's Mark Webster, says, good morning both. Mark and Jackie Webster from cloudy Cornwall. We've just started our visa journey with Chris and Upsticks.
Yeah.
And Liz Coleman, here we go. Here's a plug for you, Chris. Just wanted to say that Chris is the best. If anyone on this chat is planning on moving to Spain, I highly recommend him to help with the residency process. He helped my husband and it was seamless.
Thank you.
Lovely. Absolutely. So let's do a few little bits of news first before we get on to the questions. And I'm going to do this one. This was something that actually happened a few days ago, which is that we on YouTooSpain have had 300 videos now It's actually 304 because I've done a few since that, a couple of short videos. So there we go. Hurrah! That's always a nice. It's always a nice thing when I get. This is from a program that I use, which does all of the counting and stats on my channel. So they keep telling me that I've gone through various different whooppies. So that's that one. There was something in Time Out actually, which is interesting for all of us in Spain, which is this headline. This Spanish city will soon be home to Europe's biggest airport. And I thought it looked like Malaga, but that would be a bit weird because it's nowhere near the biggest airport. It's actually Madrid. And they're getting a huge input of cash. They're talking billions. And it won't be done until, I think, 2031. But that's their aim, to do that, which is brilliant. There was also headlines about Malaga expanding. I don't know if they're having a new runway built or something like that, but there's definitely going to be something happening. Have you heard about that, Chris?
I haven't, but I can investigate because I know a lot of people in Malaga Airport, so that's good.
Cool.
What I can never understand about where the Terminal 1, you know, the section towards, so they've expanded, everything's brilliant towards the Terminal 3, but where 2 and where basically 1 is just left abandoned. So I wonder if they've got plans to expand that way.
Oh, is that the one that you go to America from or something?
No, you don't go. It's closed. So you've got Terminal 1, 2, and 3, and you used to have years ago. You used to have so you've got where the airport museum is, and if anybody hasn't been to there, go. It's free. Then you've got car parks, and obviously you've got the beer factory, San Miguel, and then you've got you'll see there's the old Terminal 1, which is completely like closed, really. Very old building. Then Terminal 2, which is the old place where you used to go everywhere, and then they extended to 3, didn't they? So with the leaky roof. And that's basically where they use. So you'll see that the I think it's B and C wings are gates are over near Terminal 2 side, and the D is the new one. But they can't expand that way past D because that's where the runways are. So they're just assuming that any sort of reform would have to happen in the old part.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it'll be interesting to find out. Report on that in a couple of weeks when you're back then, I think.
Yeah, I'll make a note of that. Let me. I'll do some investigations because I know loads of people who work there, so I'll write that down so I don't forget.
Brilliant. Oh, Jen says she's opened. Oh, this is something that you can all do. I've opened separate device, though you can do this with 2 separate tabs on the same browser, so that you can stream from both Skatz and Chris's YouTube channels, giving both the watch hours. Thank you so much. That really helps because it helps the algorithm and it pushes the views up because it pushes the little notification of the video up to the top of the list the more people watch that. So thanks very much for that, Jen. And also people do this, the thing that Chris said, put on Chris's and my videos on. You can do the same like Jen's doing, 2 at the same time while you're out, and there's a way of what do you call it, repeating them, so that it repeats the whole playlist, which we can show you. And so Chris is doing that for me, and I'll be doing that for Chris's as well. So we have Ant says 2 degrees C, Nouvelle-Aquitaine, that's the region of France. FAN is Feliz Año Nuevo, Happy New Year, ciao. And they are watching on both. It's a win-win-win, with a cherry on top, of course. There we go. Is that all of the news? Did we have? Oh, actually, Ant sent me a joke, which I am going to put up here because it's the worst joke ever. So it's like a dad joke. Hi Skatz, we are back. We are glad you got a quick new appointment. This is the colonoscopy that I'm talking about on the video diaries. This time you can get all of your toilet ducks in a row. Yay! Pinching a line from Chris. Always says get your ducks in a row. So there. Terrible joke, Ant, but thank you so much. It warms my heart to see somebody telling worse dad jokes than me. There we go. And more people on the live chat. It's busy today, isn't it? It's lovely. Jed Tierney says, morning all. I'm just back from a lovely week in Necker. Marvellous. Great to see the Three Kings Parade. Yeah, they do a good one in Necker. And Andrew Parker. Hi, Skatz and Chris. Looking forward to our visa chat on Wednesday. Oh, there you go. And Tim says 8:15 p.m. and 28 degrees C. That's in, where did you say you were? You were way over on Sydney. That's right, I remember. Brilliant. Thanks for all your comments. Keep on doing the comments because that's also good for the algorithm. Here we go. So, on your video that you did earlier in the week, Chris, you were talking about lots of updates. So let's just zip through all of those and see if anything's happening. BLS.
Yes, so the BLS. Well, there's a few things happening there at BLS. We can start. Should we start at the top of Edinburgh?
Yeah, go on then.
So, our advice, and it still is our advice, and we're sticking to it. But we do have to tell people what's happening. Yeah, so it's really hard when you're trying to give a set structure to it. It depends, as we know, right? And as we know, the last 3 years, it's been, can I keep my passport? Can I not keep my passport? Can I keep a passport? Yes, you can. No, you can't. Yes, you can. No, you can't. It depends on who you get on the day. Yeah. So just before I go into this, our advice is always make your preparations as though you will have your passport retained. Yeah. Mm-hmm. If you lose your passport, if you get your passport back, it's a Brucey bonus. That's it. Right. Because over the last 3 years, it takes a while to prepare, and sometimes they keep them, sometimes they don't. But with Edinburgh, they have all their official information is you will not get your passport back. If you do need your passport, you can only have it for a day. You have to justify the reason, etc., etc. But we did have a client who managed to get their passport back, and they had a turnaround of 3 weeks for the visa, and then they're going to fly in and pick it up next week. So, our advice stays the same, but it's just to let people know that if there was somebody chance they're on, they got the visa, they're going to go pick it up, they got their passport back. Use that time to go to Spain, so that's good. Mm-hmm. Manchester, what's going on at Manchester? Well, basically, no real updates from Manchester, but we have had people tell me that they've seen online. I haven't seen in the groups people have got their passport back. So far, we haven't had that experience. Manchester have been insisting that they keep passports to the point where they're actually charging in a couple. They're charging for 2 courier fees.
Oh dear.
25 each. So our experience has been contradictory to what people have been telling me they've seen online. But hey, as I say, always prepare to leave it, and if you get it back, it's a bonus. And then going to London. Well, London now seems to have a non-appointment queue.
Oh,
right. So I got a photo from one of our clients. Thank you very much. We're our clients this year. The back end of last year, we've been asking for even more detailed reports, and even if you get a chance to get a photo, just let us know, and as much feedback as possible so we can get it out there. And it seems like there is a non-appointment queue, but you can evidently not trust the fact that you're going to get in because there's always a lot of people in that queue. Mm-hmm. But across the board with the BLS booking system, the appointments are running really well. Okay, so people are getting appointments within 10 days. The BLS website, albeit it's an absolute pain with the verifications that you have to do, is working. But to put it into context, I did a instructional video on how to book your appointment because they do a photo verification, which means we can't do it this end, but we can. I'll explain that how to. And that took me 22 minutes to do the video. So I was like, watch it, get a cup of tea, watch the video first, then go through the process. What we're doing with our clients is for people who are struggling is we have a screen sharing software. So say, right, quickly download this, and then I actually jump on, we're on the phone, and we go through the booking process together. So, but the appointments are working really well at the moment, which is great. That's in terms of judging the timeline, it's great that all 3 consulates have appointments readily available.
Excellent. Very, very good. So, apostilles, is that next on the list?
Yeah, so the apostilles have gone up. They've gone from the government charge. So obviously, if you're paying someone to help you do it, then they've got their own charge. But the government charge has gone up from £30 to £40. So I don't know who's sat in the UK government over a drink at Christmas and went, yeah, 25%. Yeah, that'll do.
It's actually 33.33%. It's
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? Yeah.
That's a massive hike. And
Yeah.
it's, especially if you've got a lot of documents that you need doing. That's
Well, it immediately puts your standard apostille charge of, let's say, 2 medical certificates, 2 acros and a marriage certificate, which is, pretty standard, at 200 quid, isn't it?
yeah, nasty.
So yeah, it's not right. It really annoyed me because I was, it's document verification. Fair enough. I understand that they have to employ people, have to have an office, and but it is a government service, isn't it, from the taxpayers? And probably leave it there, I think.
Yes, yeah. We better not bash the tax office, just in case. Okay, then that's all about apostilles. Although somebody had a question about apostilles, but we'll do those after the mid-time break. Turnaround times, how are they doing?
Yeah, not too bad. So we're looking. The longest it's taken at the moment over the Christmas period from London is around 6 weeks. Though we've seen it a lot quicker.
So this is for visas we're talking about, by the way, from the UK office.
Or NLVs, yeah.
Yeah.
It's doing well. The turnaround times are good.
Are they all about 6 weeks then? All 3?
Yeah, about that. Manchester seems to be taking the longest at the moment. Edinburgh is the most random because they can take anything between a week to 6 weeks for some reason. Manchester seems to be a steady 6 weeks across the board. And London is probably the quickest with around a month, 5-week turnaround at the moment.
That says a lot about the different places that they're coming from, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I see Manchester, they're used to steady rain, so that's it. They do things steadily. London like to do things quickly, and Edinburgh, they're just all over the place. I don't know what that says about Scottish stuff. I'm not going to go beyond that. Anyway, see what you think about it. Tell us in the comments. I'll get into trouble. So we've done the London no appointment queue. That's handy. That's a first, isn't it? None of them ever had that before.
And we've never had anybody try it because, to be honest with you, with the developments on the BLS booking website, there's no real need to, unless you are absolutely right at the back end of your documents, realised, not organised, and gone, God, I've got to go tomorrow. I really wouldn't suggest that you try the non-appointment queue, but it's a great backup for, maybe people who are out there and they haven't realised that some of their documents are going to expire. They need to run in. Well, there you go. Or people with, for example, with changes of circumstances, they might have an appointment booked in the future, realise they can't make it, can't book another one, but it looks like you can use that.
Excellent. Jen says, I'd better not mention I work at HMRC. Yeah, don't mention that, Jen.
Have a word for us about the apostilles.
Yeah. Tell them, what, for goodness sake, what are you doing? 33.33% recurring.
That's good. Does that mean we've got an enchufe in HMRC now? They say here enchufe, don't they? Enchufe means plug-in. What's that in English? It's you got someone on the inside.
Oh, someone on the inside. No, there's a word for it, isn't there? Inside track. No. Yeah. Somebody tell us. We're terribly bad at defining things.
In Spain, they say enchufe. So if you know somebody on the inside, they call you a plug. Enchufe is the same as an electric plug.
Oh, I see.
So they say, you got an enchufe in there then if you know somebody on the inside, yeah. There you go.
That sounds like a good way of saying it. We've got a plug in.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay then. So S1s, can you get them emailed to you? Is that the thing?
Yeah. So I don't think we mentioned this before. It's been happening for a while, but I was looking through and I had the videos on and stuff. I don't think I mentioned it. Now S1s are they're coming through via email as well. So something very important to mention, I'm going to do my S1 update video 2023 was really popular, so I'm going to do an S1 update 2024. But when you phone them up, the best way to get an S1 is to phone up and actually speak to somebody. What I have to say is, if you find that you're not getting anywhere with the person on the end of the phone, right, politely make your excuses, get off and phone again, right? Because we've had people come up against slight brick walls and not really the conversation. They're asking them crazy things. So, and then, you know, they just get off of that call, go again. There's a lot of people working there in the pensions authorities, and you'll find that some are slightly more quicker than others in issuing the S1s. But they can email them to you before they send out the physical document. Now, the physical document doesn't have to be sent to Spain. It can be sent to a UK address, okay, now, which is a big change from last year. It can be sent to Spain if you're already in Spain, so people like on an EU platform need them actually sending to Spain. But they will email them to you first. So when you're doing your pre-registration, if it's a visa or your direct registration with the Social Security here, you can use the email version. And we have actually had clients use the email and printed them out version to get visas as well. Excellent.
Oh, Jen says the plug-in, she said you can call it a mole. Liz Kelman says connection. I've got inside track, I thought of as well. There we go. Any others?
I like a mole.
Mole's quite good. Yeah. It's a spying term, isn't it?
Yeah.
Got someone on the inside. Yeah, that's another one.
That's it. Jen can be our mole now, HMRC. That's it.
Yes. Jen, don't tell anybody, except for the thousands who watch this channel. So, there's a note here, proof of flight needed. Is that for the non-lucrative visa? You need to prove when you're going to Spain.
Yeah, this was recent. Yeah, it's something we need to investigate a little bit more now. It hasn't happened for any of the British consulates that I've seen. But I thought it worth mentioning on the channel in case anybody else has seen it on other Facebook groups, which I'm never on. But we've got one chap that we only assisted with his application forms because we don't currently offer assistance for people coming from Ireland on an NLB, partly because they had a right, we couldn't process them, basically. But there was a chap that we've been dealing with, I believe he's watched the shows, definitely watches my channel, and he did his own visa, but we helped him with the application forms, and we've been keeping in touch basically for feedback from Ireland. It doesn't happen a lot where there's third country nationals living in Ireland and have to go to Dublin, but it does happen. And he got his visa approved, but they wouldn't issue the visa without a proof of his flight leaving the country. Now, that's strange because they've never asked for that from the UK. I asked a friend of ours and who works with the US a lot and hadn't heard of that. Though the US tend to ask for proof or declaration where you're going to live, they generally don't ask for the flights. Costa, if you're watching, let me know if I'm contradicting myself. But I immediately went on Facebook and saw someone put the same comment, and I asked where it was, and they didn't get back to me. So there's definitely some feedback needed there about the flights thing.
Yeah, cool. Have we got any more updates and news?
I think that was it from our little list, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's all I've got on my list. So, unless there are any more questions on the live chat, which it doesn't look like there are, we'll go to the halfway stage. I think we're coming up to 30 minutes. We might run longer than an hour. We'll see it. Do you have to rush off, Chris, after an hour?
Not after an hour, but believe it or not, me and Raoul and Lara and I have got a paddle court booked at 12.
Ah, nice. Okay.
Part of the fitness regime for the new year.
Yeah, we'll announce that properly on the next show. Actually, we'll talk about the fitness regime that we're both doing. Although I'm not going to be running like you are.
I've got to show you my Excel. I've been keeping it because I run a lot on the. We've got a running machine, so I use that. I'm that heavy at the moment. When I run on it, it stops.
Oh, that's good. And we're both using the same app. I've been out for 2 walks this week, but I forgot to turn the app on, so it's not recorded anything. But they were only really very slow walks just up, but they were uphill, so the good gradient. And actually, that's probably better for weight loss, because it's not what do they call it when you're going more than 120 BPM? Cardio, that's it. But I think I need both, but I'm doing quite well anyway. So if you want to know anything about that, people, watch the video diaries. We'll be talking about the diet that I'm on as well, and the intermittent fasting. And there's loads of questions about the preparation for the colonoscopy as well, which I did some research, and the preparation that you do, you take a laxative the day before and on the day as well. That's fairly common. Doesn't matter where you are in the world, that happens. But it's what you eat in the 3 days before, or even the 5 days before, that seems to be really important in some countries and not in others. And the instructions that you get are different in different places, even from the printed material that is a standard printed one from the health service here. And that's different from the instructions that they told me when I called the hospital to change the appointment, to get the new appointment. So it's a bit dubious. Some people saying from the UK that you can't, that it doesn't matter what you eat beforehand, you just do the laxative, and that's what they're saying. So these people need to get their act together, really, to make sure that there's the same advice for everybody. But there we go. Oh, Andrew Parker says, "Hi Chris, it's Andy Parker again. Could you give my wife Linda a wave, please?"
Hey Linda.
Brilliant.
Will Linda be on the call then as well on Wednesday? Make sure you are.
Good, yes. Make sure of that. Okay then. So, before we continue with the questions from Facebook, actually, yes, and from social media, we're going to have a quick message from me and my alter egos, Doogie, and Doogie Dog as well, he's on there, about the wonderful things available to you as YouTooSpain fans. Oh yes, you've got your notifications turned on there, Chris. They keep going bibbly boop, bibbly boop.
Sorry, let me try and.
That's all right. You can do that while we're offline for a minute. And here we go. So, quick message from me and the alter egos. Where is it now? It's here. This show is very helpful to you, isn't it? And you're enjoying it too. Then click on the thumbs up, you lazy colonel. I don't have any thumbs. You can use your nose, Doogie. And don't forget to subscribe as well. And rub on the bell for notifications while you're there. It's all free. Information is valuable. I need a coffee to keep my pecker up. So why not show your appreciation by buying us a coffee or 3? There's a link in the video description below. No! Use the QR code. I own the company, you know. No, you don't, Colonel. It's there for the whole show, sweetie. Just point your camera phone at it. But wait! If you think all the help and information and entertainment you get here is worth more than just a few coffees, you can support YouTooSpain with a regular monthly amount. You're not getting my money! You don't have any, Colonel. You live in a hostel. There's a link to Patreon, where you can find out what extra groovy movies you get by helping out. Oh, I'm all a quiver. One more thing. Get on with it. There's a guest waiting. Goodness knows why. The beautiful watchers are waiting too. And the ugly ones. That's enough, Colonel. There are lots of vital things that YouTooSpain gets you access to. And discounts too. What things, Master? I like things. Well, do you need private healthcare insurance? Of course I do. This gout won't go away on its own, you know. Do you need a visa or residency, sweetie? Do you need to exchange currency? What about finding a property like mine? It's huge and expensive. Just like me, darling. Bah! Or do you need advice on tax and pensions? I don't know what they are. Or do you want a Spanish mortgage? Or a discount on getting documents translated and apostilled? Or a lawyer to sort you out? I didn't do it, wasn't me. Do you need a lovely little app for learning Spanish? How about finding the best mobile phone provider? Buy a YouTooSpain t-shirt. It's a win-win-win. You can even get discounts on full mouth dental treatment and get a new smile just like Skatz. Smile! All of the links are here, down below, sweetie. If you can't find them, ask me in the comments. Are you finished yet? I need to go and kick some servants. He's not a very nice human. No, he's not. But let's get back to the show, shall we? Back to Skatz in the studio. That was my line. Oh, stop being beastly and be a good little boy. I am a good boy. You are, Doogie. Back to you, Skatz. Fabulous. I like things. That's my favourite line. So, if any of you, by the way, want to have a chat with Doogie or any of the other characters, then you can't. They're not real. No, if you can, you can. You know, if you're on Patreon and become a patron, there you can get videos. What am I trying to say? You can get little videos, little personalised videos as part of that. So yeah, you can actually speak to them. So that's wonderful. Do that. Or just buy me loads of coffee. Either way, I'll be happy. So let's get back to the questions, and we'll go on to the one that came into the YouTooSpain Facebook community. The first one was from James Sean, I think that is. And it says, hopefully a quick and easy question. Just doing our visa renewals online, and unless I'm missing something, I can't find anything that links them together. I can do this with a covering letter, but it seems a little strange that when you're renewing as a family, there's nothing that links the renewal applications up. It seems I've everything else figured out and did our initial NLV TIEs myself, so it would be a bit much to pay somebody to ask a yes or no question. So yes, there is an easy answer to that, Chris.
No, there isn't, believe it or not.
Is there not?
There isn't anything that links it up. But there's something very important there. I think it's very worth mentioning, you know, before you put these, we never go through these questions together before you put them up, do we?
No.
So it's worth mentioning that. So when you make the application, obviously on the Mercura platform, you get a drop-down box, and there isn't anything particularly there which says put anything there that says submit something that relates it to another application. Mm-hmm. Okay, so but if you have if you don't have joint assets like joint bank accounts and stuff like that, and one person is the main should we say the financial person's got all the financials, and you do have to submit a marriage certificate which is updated, translated and apostilled. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But he's absolutely right. There isn't actually anywhere which allows you to say on the form that you fill out, this is related to. Mm-hmm. Whereas when you do EU family members, there is actually a whole part of the form which shows who you're related to, evidently.
Can they tell anyway?
This is a thing. Yes, I'm. Now we're just talking about a case study that we had. They definitely know when applications are related with the expediente members, because we've just had a renewal which we submitted, and one person, okay, the person who was the financial, who was bringing most of the financials to the table, mm-hmm. Got a requirement letter asking for more details about how they were going to fund the renewal, which we responded to, and then both of them got their approval, but we definitely didn't get a requirement letter for one of the parties. So they definitely at the back end do link them. We know that just from the responses we're getting. Mm-hmm. But absolutely right. But there's a very important thing there that was mentioned, was about writing a covering letter. Now, mm-hmm. these covering letters, which in Spanish we call escritos, all right? Again, there isn't a drop down in anywhere in the drop down section to add them, but there is a place to add other documents or documents that you feel relevant. Mm-hmm. It can never harm to write a covering letter, mm-hmm. right? Especially if you've got something which isn't immediately obvious on the documents that you're presenting. So if you're presenting proof of income, there might be a slightly difficult structure. Always, you know, if they disregard the covering letter, well, fair enough. But I think it's always a good idea, and we write them for virtually every renewal that we submit.
Mm-hmm. Great. I think that's answered that one. And next question was from a name I'm not sure I can pronounce properly. That's my fault, not yours, obviously. This is let's give it a try. Olugbaila, Olugbaila, Olamilakan. That's terrible, isn't it? I'm sorry. So anyway, the question is, what is the current timeline for EU family visa, the Pareja de Hecho route, to get approved? I submitted mid-November 2023.
Yeah, you probably got a while to go there. Then, yeah, unfortunately, it does depend on the province that you're in. I've heard horror stories from places like Madrid where they're taking 6 or 7 months. Here in Malaga, they're definitely taking 3 to 4 months to come through. But the EU family members route seems to be really slow. It definitely seems to be one of the slowest resolutions that we have coming out.
Okay.
So yeah, and I think talking about what happens when it goes over the 90 days. We had by default, if you make an application, it goes up to the 90 days. It's a good idea to submit a request to immigration on their platform for further information, which we did for one of our clients because it came past the 90-day period after submission. Because what you can assume is that for administrative law in Spain that it has been rejected because it's Madrid administrative silence. Right?
Yep.
And we got a message back saying, albeit you can consider your application rejected due to administrative silence, when we review the case and we see that it's valid, we may approve it.
Okay.
So how do you go back to a client and say, look, you can consider yourself rejected because we've had no notifications back, but you've still got to sit and wait because when they finally get to looking at the file, they'll approve it, basically. Which was exactly the case. It came through 10 days later. What I would say is that every single application which is submitted on the Mercurio platform, which is the government's platform, when you check to see the status, if it says in trámite, it means that they haven't got to it yet. So unfortunately, they do go over the 90 days. If it still says in trámite, then it means that when they finally get to it, they will give you the approval, a requirement letter, or a rejection.
Great. Okay, I think that covers that one. If you have any more questions on that, I don't know if you're online with us. I'll just say Olug, just for short. So let's go to Patrick O'Connell's question. He's always asking us questions, and I like those questions, Patrick. Keep them coming. And this one is, hi Skatz, Irish and retired, hoping to move to Spain in May or June. I'll be using my bank statement as proof of sufficient funds. Should it be apostilled, and roughly how much is enough?
He's Irish, isn't he?
Yeah. Irish and retired, it says. So that's an EU.
Yeah, so again, it depends on where you're going. So if you're an EU citizen, you have to go and register straight away. As we know, you've already got permission to be here, so you have to go and register. Yeah. And then when you do go and register, it depends on if you're going to be using your passive income, i.e. your pension, or your savings. Yeah. To prove your financial stability here. Being retired, I imagine you'll be using bank statements which show passive income.
Yes, now, it does say on there he's using a bank statement.
Yeah. So in terms of do they need apostilling? Well, no. But you would need to bring original bank statements. They would need to be either verified by the bank, so stamped. You can have them verified by a notary in the UK, but they would need translating as well. So, I mean, what I would say is if you're using savings, the best thing you can do is actually bring your savings to a Spanish bank and get a certificate from a Spanish bank. That certainly works here in Malaga. For your passive income, definitely have the proof of the source. So whether that's a P60 or a state pension, get your state pension letter translated as well. And if you have got statements from the UK, make sure that they're not just printed statements. They've been stamped, which I know is really, really hard, but or notarized, but they don't necessarily need to be apostilled. In fact, it's quite hard to get bank statements apostilled.
And of course, if you want in order to open a Spanish bank account, they'll ask you for your NIE and sometimes proof of residency just to open a residence bank account. So, but you can open a non-residence one just to start with if you've got a good bank manager like I have. They opened a non-residence account, and so I put my funds in that, and that's what I used for my residency registration. And then once all the documentation was through, went back to the back end and transferred it over into a residence bank account. So that's one way of doing it. There we go. Hope that answers your question, Patrick. Let's move on to Stuart Porter. Here we go. He's one of your clients as well, isn't he? Where is that one? I have it somewhere. Oh, there it is. There's so many today. They're all hanging around in my inbox there. So, can you advise what the approximate costs are to apply for the year 2 and 3 non-lucrative visa renewal? This is the one we said we were going to be talking about. Medical insurance already sorted. This would be for myself and partner, not married. Our financial means comes from UK bank savings and UK rental income. So would like to know complete costs, please.
Right, so I can explain our costs and then the costs on top of that, what you would have. So we charge per person to do the renewals €395 per person. That includes, I'm going to tell you what it includes now, so I've written it down.
Lovely.
Unfortunately, it includes $82.95 VAT. Have to charge VAT because we're in Spain. It includes your initial application tax, which is when you make the initial application, you have to pay €16.40 to actually apply for the renewal. Once your renewal is approved, there's a €19.30 tax to go and get your new TIE card. Okay, so that's all included in our fee, and evidently we assist in stage 1, which is submitting the initial documents on the government platform, getting the approval, and then stage 2 is getting the appointment to register that approval, switching your cards, and getting the pickup appointment, and we send someone with you to do that. So that's a bit of a breakdown of our service. In terms of extra cost, it depends. So if you have got UK bank account statements and savings, evidently they're going to need translating. So that's an extra cost. Depending on the structure of those UK accounts, you may need another marriage certificate. You may not. We sort of do an assessment. So in our fee, we always we do an initial assessment with you of what needs doing and what doesn't need translating. You may need a marriage certificate. That would be an extra cost. And then what else have we got there? If you're using rental income, then you would need. Problem with rental income, that normally attracts a lot of translations because you would need proof of the rental income also going into the account. So you need to submit at least 3 months translated bank account statements. You probably need your rental agreement translating as well. And if you've got an agency managing it, what we always like to do is try and get a summary from that agency of what your yearly income has been from the rental, which seems to work quite well.
Is there anything different about their not being married? Is that a problem on the renewal?
Yeah, the only thing with not being married is with the initial application, the BLS and consulate generally tend to accept people who can prove that they've been common law husband and wife for the financial reduction that you get. But on renewal, it seems to be a lot harder, so they may have to qualify individually. Okay.
So that would make the amount of IPREM they need more altogether.
Yeah.
So
they accept joint accounts at the consulate for proof that you can get the proof that you can apply the discount. But we've had it here with joint accounts where they've just basically come back and said, send the marriage certificate. We're like, no, we explain in the escrito that they're not married, but they have a joint account. They're like, okay, well, they need to qualify as individuals. It's a big thing. It's a big thing from 1 year to the other.
Okay, so that could make your renewal amount an extra, quite a lot of percentage more. I can't work it out. five sevenths more, 5/8 more, something like that.
Yeah.
Or no, 3/8 more. Yes, because instead of being five lots of IPREM, it's 8 lots of IPREM.
Yeah.
There we go. So that got awfully complicated, didn't it? Best speak to Chris on that one, Stuart, for your individual circumstances, because there are a few. It depends in there, I think.
Yeah, and it also depends where you're applying. So, places like Malaga, for example, they seem to be extreme. We've got a lot of case studies now gone through for the renewals, and that Malaga are very good at accepting foreign documents. Other places aren't as good.
There we go. It depends, as always. No, I'm going to put that up again because I like doing that. Here we go. It depends. Woohoo! And also, let's dance. Let's keep dancing all the way through. So, next one. I think this is the last one. Yes, we've done all of the other ones. Now, this is from Charles Robinson, and it is an easy answer. Where's it gone? Oh, yeah. Can I use my disability parking card in Spain now?
Oh, that's a good question. If you're a resident, no, you have to apply for one here.
Mm-hmm.
I know that. And you register as disabled with your local junta, whether it's a Murcian local government or whatever, or here and Lucia. If you're on holiday, if it's not an EU one, so if it's from the EU and you're on holiday, in theory, yeah. But if it's from the UK, can you use it if you're on holiday? Are they still? It's a question to ask on that M332, isn't it?
Yeah, ask on the M332 Facebook page. That would be the place to ask. And I've seen people commenting on various different Facebook groups saying that no, you need a European one officially. Now, of course, that's going to depend on if there's a traffic warden who is a bit pernickety and you've got the UK one on there, which is obviously a disability parking sticker, and it's got the symbol on there, and they use the same symbol in Spain. Will they give you a ticket? Well, how many pernickety traffic wardens do you know? That's my answer to that one. So,
well, that's a good point. I mean, the other point is to make is with these traffic things that people come up, people are looking for a global, or should we say national, answer to questions. And what you have to remember is we have Policía Local. Yeah, we have local police forces. Local police forces who generally deal with traffic issues are employed by the town hall, not by the state. And they all have their own interpretation of the rules. Yeah,
and they may not be able to understand what the sticker says because it's in English. They don't all speak English, the local police.
No. And inside of that, they sometimes subcontract parking people. I got a parking ticket the other day, which I've contested, because here in Alarin de la Torre, they have a blue parking area, but no machines. They have a guy who walks up and down and takes the money off you and gives you a little ticket. Right? But the guy was nowhere to be seen, as he's generally not. Okay. But I hunted him down. He was having a coffee. So I've gone in and I'm working. I'm trying to get taxes paid for our clients at the agreed time in the bank because we have an appointment to do it. He's nowhere to be seen. So I've ran into the bank. I've done my job for half an hour. I've came out and I've got a fine on my card, but he was having his breakfast. So there you go.
Oh dear.
Story.
Nasty. Okay.
I have tested
it. Good.
Got witnesses from the breakfast bar as well and statements.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, let us know how that goes.
Okay.
So, loads of questions have come up on the live chat. I've been ignoring them because we've done all of the ones from social media. So let's get back to that. Oh, Steve Robinson asked ages ago, does anyone know the IPREM for 2024? I don't think it's been announced yet, has it?
Not been announced yet. Well, I haven't checked since about Thursday, I think. But no, it hasn't been announced. I think they're still arguing over it, aren't they?
Are they? I've not seen that.
That's what Jane said, actually. Jane, I said, have you seen it's been announced yet? so we can do our article that we do. And she said, no, they're still arguing about it.
There you go. Paula says you should watch Lee Evans to prepare. Search Lee Evans colonoscopy. Oh yeah, I'm going to watch that sketch. And Alicante Explorer says we're already learning Spanish, but we need to step it up a level by listening to normal conversation. So which TV shows are good for learning Spanish? Thanks. Some people have said to me, watch some Netflix Spanish series. And often it's good, I think, although I've not done it yet. Liz has done it by watching Star Trek in Spanish because she's very familiar with the Star Trek scripts. So that kind of makes it easier to understand and pick it up. What do you reckon, Chris? What are the best ones?
You can get the Radio Televisión Española, RTVE, I think it is. You can that, which is generally where the news is, and it's Madrid-based. Normally, news. You can get it online and just have the news on, and they speak a very clear Madrileño style Spanish. So some of it can be quite technical. It's quite good because they're quite graphic with their news here. So you'll be like, "Oh, car crash," and they'll be talking about it, and you'll be able to pick things up. So that might be something to have a look at as well.
Yeah, you do get a lot of repeated language on the news as well, so repeated words. So even if you don't know what they are the first time, you get you know the second time. So there we go. Also, are there any groups, websites we can join where we can video chat to Spanish speakers for practice, preferably free? Yeah, I very much doubt you'll get free, but paid if need be. I have a Spanish teacher here that I can put you in touch with who does online classes. Are there any websites and groups? There probably are, aren't there, Chris?
I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen adverts for them on Facebook groups. Maybe look on the expat Facebook groups there, and you'll probably find some. I think once you've put in the question and once you've spoken to your computer, you'll probably get adverts for loads of them as well, because the algorithm will fire them out at you. And Childa, it's a nice name. That sounds like a Dutch name as well. San Truthek, or does it? Let us know. Oh no, from Cape Town. Hi guys, Happy New Year to you both from warm Cape Town. I'm looking to buy property on the south coast of Spain, but really need to know which area has least humidity. I have an EU passport. So, least humidity on the coast?
Me personally, I would say you'd need to go, depending how far south you really want to go, you'd need to go south of the Strait of Gibraltar, because it's not less humidity, but it's more wind. So it blows it away. But we get, obviously here in Malaga, we get quite a lot of humidity here. So I don't know where you are, how it is. But
where I am, I'm 25 minutes from the coast on a wiggly road, so not actually that far up, but we're 600-700 meters up in the air, and that's where you need to go if you want the least humidity. You're above the cloud line, or certainly the humidity cloud line, because we can look down at the sea and see a complete coverage of clouds below the tops of the mountains. So that's my best advice. Go slightly inland up the hills. And there are hills all the way along the south coast, I think. Well, certainly on the Costa del Sol and the Costa Tropical. But you were talking about past Gibraltar, which is Cadiz and Huelva, which are on the Atlantic Ocean rather than the Mediterranean. So, yeah, you do get the winds blowing away the humidity there. Yeah,
it gets windier, but it seems to be that just blows the humidity away. And I suppose places like, talking about inland, like with Loja, you know Loja, I know Loja because of affiliation with it. But that's very, very dry, very, very warm in summer. It's definitely not that humid. So, and that's 45 minutes inland and at 400 meters above sea level. So even when you get to that hill ridge behind you, that might be.
Yeah, it depends how bothered you are about being right on the coast. Because really, if you want dry, then go to Granada province or Seville or somewhere like that, because it's definitely a lot drier inland, but a lot hotter in the summer. Seville's about the hottest. Yeah. So yeah, it depends again, but there we go. And Robbo,
that in Figueroa is going to be humid.
Yeah, Yeah, any of those places. Robert says, do you have to renew your TIE when renewing your NLV? And if so, is there a cost?
Yeah,
Yes,
we
you
went through
do.
the cost earlier on it, but you do have to renew your TIE card. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's only got a date for a year on it to start with, hasn't it? Yeah. Oh, and is there a cost? We talked about that before, didn't you? What's the cost for actually doing the renewal? Did we
What
do
was
the whole thing? We did,
Yeah,
didn't we?
395 with the breakdown we said earlier on.
Yeah, great stuff. And Emma B. This is hi guys, thanks for your previous help with me doing the NLV app myself. Wish I hadn't. Managed to finally get an appointment at BLS after clearing my cache, as you suggested. Can't thank you enough. Yeah, that's a good hint.
Yeah.
And also, Chris, can you help me with my NIE when I'm in Spain, Alicante region? Would like idea of how much.
Yep, sure. Yeah, TIE card, we can help you with that. That is, it depends. Get hold of us it depends where you're going and when you're coming, really, to how much it's going to cost. So just you drop us an email to support@upsticks.es, but we can help you in person with that up here in Alicante, and we'll let you know how much it's going to cost.
Brilliant. And one from Jed Tierney. Hello, Jed. Channel 4 have been showing people who have moved to Spain after finding homes via their Place in the Sun programme, emphasising that even though UK isn't in the EU, a move to Spain is possible.
Yep.
Great. Good to see that they're letting people know, because, in the past few years, I don't think they've made it clear that it's not as easy to do now. They've not really talked about the necessity to get the TIE and things like that. There we go. And we have Leo Rouse. Hi, Chris. New to your channel. Will you be in London at the Place in the Sun live? Oh, yeah, that's coming up.
No, we won't be there this year. So we did Manchester, not last year before, but we won't be in London. But thanks for watching. Anyway, keep on watching, Leo.
Brilliant. Robbo says, Chris mentioned the discount when married. What is the discount, as I've not heard about this? Thankfully, I got married last November solely to make this process easier. It's the if you're married, there's you only need the 5 times IPREM. So the 4 for the initial applicant, and it's times another 1 IPREM for each additional applicant. That's kind of the discount. So you've not got 4 times IPREM each. That's what you're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah,
that covers it. Okay, the next one from Chumi Stew. I think that's how you pronounce that. Soon to be an Irish passport holder. Congratulations. Well done for joining the diaspora. Wanting to move to Spain with my Spanish partner who already moved back there. Okay, oh yes, the question is, can I holiday back and forth 9180 until we settle? Once you've got your Irish passport, then you're not subject to the 9180 rule. But you have to be careful that you don't spend too much time in Spain, because generally you need to register as a resident if you're there for 90 days or more. Although people get away with it in the EU because they don't really police it, do they, Chris?
No, it's the same with our withdrawal agreement before Brexit. There's people have been here 10 years who haven't bothered registering.
Yes, and they got in trouble a bit later on, didn't they?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah. So, Jen's replying to Alicante Explorer. I use an online teacher in Spain who runs various classes for different levels, and we chat with each other for €7 an hour. That's very cheap. There you go. So you can get in touch with each other on there. Martin Lauder says, can I officially still use my Wise account in Spain while living there? Yes, I've got a Wise account. That's an easy one. Alan Lackenby says, after years 4 and 5, this is something we've not actually done a show about, isn't it? Mm-hmm. What happens afterwards? Is it just a case of applying for permanent residence, and will you not need to show funds anymore? Thank you.
No, we need to do a show on this, because officially when you go for the Larga Duración, you don't actually have to show the IPREM that you show for the renewals of the NLV. You will what you will have to prove is how you're going to support your life in Spain. Okay, but it should be to a point where they take the EU IPREM. So, but we do advise that it depends really if you're using savings or income.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because at the point of going for your permanent residency, albeit it's not part of the official requirements, you still have to prove that you can support yourself in Spain if they ask for it, and it's how you do that. So yeah, but in theory, there's a lot of people who are waiting to get their 4 and 5 renewal through so they can have a big party and spend all the money.
Yeah.
You still have to, in one way or another, at least prove that you can support yourself in Spain at the end of that period. Most people would have a passive income of, if they're of an NLV of more than 12,000 euros a year. I think it's like 10,700 for EU plus a partner. But I would definitely say if you haven't got that passive income, you're still going to have a lump sum in the bank to prove how you're going to support yourself.
Good. Martin's question, it was cut off before, so he didn't ask the full question. Can I officially have a Wise account in Spain while using my UK address, as it's not an actual bank? Yeah, it's an online bank. So the question that you're asking, I believe, is will the Wise account work for everything? And some organisations, like the Taxman, for example, won't allow you to use the Wise account, I don't think, because it's an online bank, and most of the time the Wise account has got a Belgian IBAN, so you can't use a non-Spanish IBAN when you're dealing with the Taxman. I think is that true, Chris?
Yeah, also for immigration purposes, it's quite hard to use the Wise accounts because they're online and you can't find any sort of verification. So, we always talk about the verification of bank accounts, don't we? So some regions are better than others, accepted. Whatever happens, if it's in the English, you have to submit a translation. And do you need an actual bank account? Well, the most surefire way for using savings to prove anything in immigration, have a Spanish bank account and have stamped statement there, because they know that is a document we recognise. But
you're allowed to have a UK bank account as long as you've got it. You can't open a UK bank account if you're living in Spain at a Spanish address, but I did a video all about this actually. But you can keep, at some banks, you can keep your UK bank account going. They allow you to do that while you're living in Spain. But it's only certain banks, not Barclays, for example. But there are a few banks who are all right with that, but they won't let you change any details. So if you try and change it for example, from a joint account to an individual, or an individual to a joint account, to show that the savings are for both of you in the UK, then they just cancel the account because you're not allowed to change any details. So I think that covers that one. And Patrick O'Connell says, listening to songs in Spanish and having the subtitles can help a learner. That's a good idea, yes. I have learnt some Spanish words from singing La Bamba, for example. That's the only one I sing at the moment. Oh no, I have done a few of the other ones as well, but yeah.
Hey Macarena.
Hey Macarena, yeah. And Craig Halliday says, good morning, boys. What's the best interest rate you're likely to get in a Spanish bank account, and would that account have charges applied to it? That's an interesting one.
-5, I think.
-5. Yeah, it depends, and it does change all the time. I don't know what the interest rates are at the moment.
Sometimes I see people, when people talk to me about their accounts in the UK, they're fixed interest for a year. There's like SIPs and all sorts of things going on. I think, I can't find a product like that in Spain. I've got a savings account. They don't apply any interest to it. So why do you call it a savings account? I said, that's where you put your spare money. Well, yeah, but the idea of a savings account is that you pay me some interest on it, not a bank charge of 20 euros a year, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's why banks were invented, so that you could put your money in it and gain from them looking. They're paying you to look after your money. So, yeah. That
was Sabadell. I said to him, "What have you?" He goes, "Oh, we've opened your savings account." I went, "Oh, great. What's the interest?" They were like, "Oh, no." So yeah, it's a bit of a myth. One of the things I would say on that front, though, is be very, very, very careful with Spanish banks when they try and dress up an investment product as a savings account. Yeah. Okay, I've seen it before. They're very heavy on sales at the moment. I think in years to come, we're going to have a big scandal like the PRP or P. What was it? What was it in the UK? The PIP or whatever it was? I don't know.
I can't remember what it was. ISA.
The mis-selling.
Oh yeah, the other one. Mm-hmm.
because they're hot on it here. They really are. And, you know, they tried to do it to me. I'm like, no, I don't want your dodgy investment pot, whatever it is. It's a savings account. So it's not. It's a structured investment. That if you don't do very well, I'm going to pull out less money in a year. So, and you could be confused by their language into thinking it's a savings account. So that's just my little bit of a warning there.
Yes, Craig, if you want some really good financial advice and wealth management advice, speak to Lucia Melgarejo. Her details are down in the video description below. She's one of our networking group and one of the companies that we highly recommend, and she's lovely as well. So yes, she can answer loads of questions about investment and that kind of thing as well. So Paula says in Matheron they have free social meetups to help Spanish learn English and vice versa. Yeah, they do that in a lot of towns and regions. They've got one here in Computer. You have to sign up for it early and it begins in September, but you've got to keep going regularly. There you go. And Childa says, many thanks for your help, really appreciated. I'll look around the area you suggest. By the way, my husband is Czech, so that's the surname. There we go. We learn something new every week.
It's Childa. It's Czech phonetic, like Spanish, and then we'll know how to pronounce it.
Childa, yes. And how do you pronounce Santruchek?
Yeah.
There we go. Sometimes people ask me where I get the name Skatz from, and I always used to say, when Czechoslovakia was a country, I always used to say, it's Czechoslovakian, and people used to believe me until I told them the truth. So Robert McGinney says, what's the current IPREM multiplier for Irish citizen plus wife? Thanks. Is it 1.5?
Yeah, 1.5 across the board. 1.5. We always have the thing when you're doing an EU family members application. If you're working on a base of savings, okay, then it's possible they could ask you for the full 5 years. It's not normal, but it's possible. But then again, if you are working on a base of savings, then, and you are moving to Spain, I'd expect you to have the full 5 years anyway if you've got no income, unless you're going to go and start working or something like that. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's 1.5 a year.
Yeah, good. And Kemi Stew says, fantastic, thank you. Concerns over finding a job with my limited Spanish, so I want to have an option to pop back and pick up some work. A chef of 25 years. To be honest, if you're in this region, there's always chefs are moving around all the time, and they always seem to be wanting more chefs and new chefs when people are moving around. So it seems to be a job that you can probably always get somewhere, although not necessarily a really high income. What's it like around you, Chris?
No clue. The hosteleria is quite a tough trade to be in, but it depends what sort of market you're looking at. So if you're looking at the expat market, for example, I wouldn't really have a clue, because we generally frequent Spanish places, and our town is predominantly Spanish. So you would need, for example, where we eat out, a decent level of Spanish to here. But then
if you're working in a place that's run by somebody who speaks English, then they'll speak to you in English. So you wouldn't need, if you're going to be in the kitchen all the time. But it's a good time to learn Spanish because you'll probably have Spanish people working there.
I'm probably not the best person to ask. I mean, if you went to Renewal Grande, which is just up the road, which has some fantastic restaurants, and I get my colleague Jane. She won't come on camera. I'm dying to get her on for Jane, but she knows Renewal Grande really well. Maybe I can get her on a podcast or something to explain it. But you would probably find a job there, because there's a lot of restaurants that focus on the immigrant residents.
Yeah, community. Talking of podcasts, I'm going to be on the Upsticks podcast. Chris has only just started the podcast, so I'm going to be recording one of those fairly soon, aren't I?
We are. Yeah, I think it's a week on Tuesday that we're meeting to do that, isn't it, after the meeting? So.
It is. That's fun. And okay, so Kemi Stew says the idea of renting out my house in the UK. Oh, the idea is, but concerned over paying UK and Spanish tax. Well, there's there's a tax agreement that means you don't pay the same tax on the same things. So although Spanish tax is slightly higher on some things, so what you'll end up doing is paying tax in the UK at their rate, and then the extra little bit on top, then Spain will charge you afterwards. That's my knowledge. I'm not a tax advisor, I have to say, but that's my understanding.
No, not we, but I was understood that I was led to believe by Antonio that rental income is taxed quite favourably here.
Is it?
Yeah,
oh, that's good.
Yeah, something definitely to look at, because maybe we need to ask or find out a bit more information about this. This is the second time I've come across it, where apparently rental income is you get a huge discount on the tax rate on rental income. Plus, you can, if it's Spanish property, obviously discount all your costs as long as you get the proper facturas.
Maybe I'll do a show again with Antonio. I've not had him on for a while, actually. He's our Hestor, by the way, our favourite one. So, Chemistry says, should also mention it's Asturias where they are, and trying to find work via the internet is proving difficult. More opportunities for English speakers in the south. Yeah, of course, more English residents down here. They want the sunshine, and that's it. If you move to the north coast, it looks and feels like Wales, or more like Cornwall, probably. The weather's definitely better than in England, but you do have the damp and the cold and the snow. So, yeah, you don't get as many.
From that point there, what you're saying there goes back to what we were saying about in Chufi. The job market, what you have to be really, really careful of, and someone was explaining this to me the other day. Actually, he was a Spaniard. Was evidently people, when there's jobs going, then they go to their family and friends in Chufi. It's not always the most qualified person first, unfortunately. But on the job websites, what you have to be really careful of is that people publish job opportunities and are trying to sell you a course. So you go through this process of come to an interview. Okay, a friend of mine is somebody who actually did this. They went, we've got job opportunities, come to an interview in Granada. They went to an office in Granada. They sat down and said, right, before we can present you for these, you've got to pass this course. And they were like, and the course is €400. And there were people just going in, and I was like, it was a con, but it was dressed up as a job opportunity initially.
Yes, I've seen those before. Okay. So, Ant says, do you have a date next time money transfer guy will be on? Yes, I do. Jack will be with us on the 17th of February. So I think that's in 5 weeks' time. Yes. And looking forward to that one. He's a lovely chap. Barry from Unitech says, great show as usual, guys. Missed the first 10, but promised to catch up. We'll see you both soon once we get dates sorted. Yes, we've not met Barry yet. That'll be lovely. Bring your bowls with you. That's an old joke. Yeah. You don't want to get cancelled because of it. It's golf balls. It's all right, YouTube. It's golf balls we're talking about. Not any other kind. And John Parsons says, my wife is a resident. I have a UK passport. Should it be straightforward when I apply?
That's down to situation. That's a withdrawal agreement, spouse. So obviously it depends on what your paperwork is. Normally, withdrawal agreement is extremely similar to EU family members, albeit the application forms and stuff are different.
Yeah, so your only withdrawal if your wife's been a resident since before 2020.
Yeah.
She's moved since then it's the family reunification, isn't it? And is that possible if you're a UK passport holder? Family reunification?
Permanent resident, then evidently it's a bit easier. If it's post-Brexit, then it's a different application.
Yeah. And not as easy. I thought you had to be in an EU. Oh, no, it's just a resident, isn't it?
Well,
I did a video all about it, but I can't remember.
Depends what residence advice. It's advice like here first year in an NLV, then you wouldn't be able to join her on that. If the wife's been a withdrawal agreement resident since before Brexit, so I was assuming, then yeah, it could be okay. But if she's a resident post Brexit on a visa platform, then it may not be as straightforward as you think.
So let us know, John. And Ant says 17th of February. Book it down. Oh, yes, absolutely. And that is all the questions on the live chat. If you have any more questions, guys, who are watching right now, then yes, ask them now. And while we're waiting for your questions to come through with the 20-second delay, if there are any more questions that you have once we've gone off the air, then ask them in the comments below, and we'll try and get your answers as soon as possible. And I'll tell you in a moment who's on next week's show. It's an exciting one next week. Not that Chris isn't exciting, but or any of my guests for that matter, but this guest is someone that loads of people have been waiting to meet. Don't go away, and I'll announce that in a minute. Anything else to tell you? So yes, don't put your answers to questions or your questions to answers. Don't put your questions on some random Facebook expat group. You can put it on the YouTooSpain community or the YouTooSpain Facebook page, of course, because then it will get seen by me and it'll get put on the live shows. But don't put it on the, if you see this video link on another Facebook expat group and then you watch it and then you click back on that expat group and put a comment below there, then only I will see it, and sometimes I don't. So nobody will get the benefit from it except for you. So there you go. Everybody else, help everybody else as you go along, because as you all know, it's a win-win-win with the cherry on top. Here we go. So any more chat questions come up? No, it's just people saying thank you and brilliant show again, guys. Thank you so much. Great show as usual. Gracias como siempre. Thanks as always. Andy Cooper says thanks both. Great show as always. Such useful information. Yes, everybody seems to be signing up. Oh, don't forget to click the like button before you go, and subscribe if you haven't already. But yeah. Okay. Click on that like button. Don't click on it more than once, because it just cancels it if you do that. And if you haven't bought me a coffee yet, then hover over the QR code, or if you're watching on your phone, you can't do that. You've got to go to the comments below and you can find the link down there. And that's it. Any more questions? John says, his connection packed up. So could you please tell me again that my wife is resident, I have UK passport, should it be straightforward? Yes, it was a bit complicated. Depends on whether your wife is resident from before the withdrawal agreement. Tell us very quickly whether that's the case or not. And we'll answer Alan Lackenby's question. Hello, Alan. How long does it take to join the Spanish health system?
It depends. Now, if you're on about an S1, so we're talking about retirees on an S1, once you've made your initial application, remember, it's not straight away. You have to receive the resolution back from the Social Security. Currently, they're taking anything from 2 weeks to 12 weeks to come through, depending on the area.
Mm-hmm. Great. And are there any it depends us on that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we do. What we do is for the NLVs, for example, if it's an NLV, we have to register. It's a ridiculous state of affairs. Register the person using the paperwork we have. We get proof of that registration. They get their visa. That registration then gets parked by Social Security because the person hasn't got the TIE card or Padron. So when they come to Spain, they get the TIE card, Padron. We then reopen that case, finalise the registration. Malaga's been coming through really well lately, a couple of weeks to 3 weeks. Alicante takes around 6 weeks. Almeria, you're going to have to get your ducks in a row because they're taking up to 3 months. There doesn't seem to be anything we can do about that. So, it depends where you are. But the good news is that everybody with an S1 eventually gets onto the system. Yes.
I suppose it depends if you have a mole, like Jen in the tax office. No, it's not the tax office you're applying to, is it? Anyway,
Social Security. So
it is.
It's Social Security, and it's very, very important to know. As soon as you get your visa, you're not getting your healthcare straight away. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mine took a little while.
It's taken us nearly a year to get them to accept the resguardos you get from the initial registration for the TIE card and not have to wait for the TIE card to come through. They seem to be accepting that now, whereas right at the beginning of the NLV boom, they didn't.
Yeah, I had to do mine in quite a strange order because Liz and I self-employed, so I had to get my NIE first, then I had to sort out social security and tax details, and because that gives me access to the health system for me and Liz, and then I had to sort out my registration, and then it was only after that that I could apply for my health card at the local health centre and my health number, my AN number. So that did take 3, 4, maybe 5 months before I got my card through. But I did get my number, I think, before that, so I could. And it was at the same time when the COVID vaccinations were going on early in 2022. So I got my booster then, and they registered, even though Liz was still kind of down there registered as a non-resident, they did the booster jab for her at the same time. So there was some access.
Ooh, that's a very important point. Actually, came up this week with a client of ours. We couldn't really help with it, but it's good to know moving forward. We had a client who been living here for a year. They went to get their booster jab. They're on an S1, and the GP or the people who are going to do the jab asked for the proof of the previous jabs, and they didn't have it because the UK app had closed them out, had shut them out. They had no other proof of when they had their jabs. And the UK said they'd already sent the information to Spain. Where they'd sent it, we don't know, because it wasn't security, it wasn't with the healthcare. And so they had no previous proof of the jabs they'd had, and that generated a problem to get their booster jabs now. So just if you are having jabs and stuff like that, your previous medical history is always a good idea to have it on file.
That is very true. We had a problem at the ferry port, actually, coming from Ireland in Rosslare, because we didn't have the actual piece of paper in our hand for Liz's proof, and we had to. One of them actually helped us. She was really, really helpful, and she got somebody to go on the computer and get the document through from, or we actually got it. We actually got a laptop out of one of the suitcases and started doing it and sent it and emailed it to them so that they could print it out and do it. But it took us, we had to park somewhere else and running backwards and forwards from the window where all the cars were queued up to eventually go, here it is. So that was a bit of a mess.
To that again, eh?
So Alan says, yes, he is talking about the S1. So I think we did cover all of that. And back to John Parsons. He says, yes, it is from before the withdrawal agreement. So, yes, that does make it easy. You coming over.
And I'm assuming now we're in 2024, depending on how much before, it'd be very close or will be permanent already. So
Yeah.
We've got that coming up now. In the next, we've already done our first one, but in the next year or so, we'll have all the people who declared their residency before Brexit will be switching to permanent now.
Yeah.
It's going to be a big one for next year, depending on when you're awarded your residency. Places like Granada, for example, gave them to the people on the date that they registered on the pad run, not the application date. So they're already coming through.
So, John, have you heard all of the answer? Yeah, I hope your connection is okay then. I don't know if we've completely explained it since you came back online again, but the basic answer was it depends, and it's relatively straightforward, depending on other factors. If your wife was there before the withdrawal agreement, which you've now confirmed, maybe the best thing to do is get in touch with Chris and go through your individual circumstances. So support@upsticks.es. I remembered it for once. Robert McGuinness says, I am not state pension age, but my wife is. Can I piggyback off my wife's S1? Is that a yes?
Yeah. That's a yes. That's a yes with a cherry on top.
Well, that's another one. Yes, with the cherry on top. And Ant says, winter remedy for all hot drink of oranges, lemons, honey. There's another component, but can't remember what that is. Can you help? Whiskey, of course. Isn't it obvious?
Well, no, I haven't had a drink for 20 days now. So.
Oh, well, yeah. Me too. Oh, no, not quite 20 days. I think I had one at New Year. But yeah, 13 days then.
Oh no, 26th, no, 25th. I had my last beer was on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
So I did a dry New Year, and but because I was sick, it wasn't because I was trying. And then just carried on. Really, I've never been a dry January person, but because I wasn't too well, I didn't feel like it. And now I'm better. I'm just let's give it a break anyway. Really, I suppose.
Yeah.
Not that I was an alcoholic or anything before, but it's
No.
it's quite, you get into a habit here in Spain. I'll have a little canya at lunchtime if it's a Friday or whatever, but that's all gone out the window now. So
Yeah, it does come easy. Oh, Robbo says ginger. Yes, absolutely. And apple cider vinegar as well. That's because the sharpness of the taste is kind of taken away by the honey. But yeah, that's a good one too. And it also does really good things to your gut flora. That's my call sign for gut flora. Here's Chris's email on his website.
Yeah.
Yes, John. And Alan said it wasn't going through the F1 process. It was where I would pay into.
Oh, you mean the convenio especial? Yes. So the convenio especial, again, we don't have an awful lot to do with the convenio especial, and Antonio has helped us to register a couple of clients. Basically, we've just referred straight to him. But I know they took a few months to come through.
Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay. Hopefully we've answered all of your questions. Which one am I on now? There we go. Yeah, that is everybody. So I tell you what, let's announce next week's show, and then we will tie everything up and wrap up for today. What's happening on next week's show? A little drum roll. We have, thank you, Chris, it's Andrew Hasselden from 180 Days in Spain.
Wow.
Yeah, as I'm sure you'll all remember, the videos I did about the 90-day rule back in November, and the vote win in France that was in December, but I did the video I think at the start of January. That was for a change in the visa rule for British homeowners so that they could stay for 180 days, and it created lots of excitement and questions about whether Spain would do the same. So anyway, and also people were excited about he's the leader of the campaign for an extension for Brits to the 90-day rule. He'll be with me on the virtual settee next week to answer your questions. He's a very positive bloke, and we'll see how that goes. I'm looking forward to asking him all the questions. And he's one of the first people I know who on Facebook and on the under the YouTube videos, he gets a lot of stick from people saying, "Oh, you Brits, you just think you should get everything. Brexit is Brexit," all of that kind of thing. And he takes it all in his stride, and he's just even I went in quite hard when he came on to start with, saying, "Oh, you're up in cloud cuckoo land trying to." And he even goes to the extent of saying, we should be back in Europe as well, which just always makes me laugh, because I don't think any politician in their right mind would even contemplate the thought of making that their policy, because they'd immediately be kicked out of just about any party apart from the Liberal SDP, whatever they're called. So, yeah. Political suicide to even suggest such a thing, but that's one of his aims in the end. It's a very, very, very long-term aim. But anyway, have your questions ready for that, or just prepare yourself for a lovely listen and a lovely New Year chat. And in the meantime, you can ask questions, of course, on the YouTooSpain community or the Facebook page. And of course, you can subscribe to YouTube, click on the like button, ask questions under any of the videos. So let's wrap up. Huge thank you, as always, a big virtual hug and a kiss to Chris, a Chris to kiss from Chris from Upsticks. Yes, always a pleasure going off on a tangent with you.
Brilliant. Yeah, enjoy it as always. Thanks for having me on again.
Thank you, and thanks once again to all of the people joining us on the live chat, or for watching the video back afterwards and leaving comments. And you can hit the like button too, and buymeacoffee.com. I'll see you either on the Wednesday evening video or the video diaries. I'll probably have an update I'm not sure, early in the week or later in the week. Or, of course, live here on Saturday mornings at the regular time of 9 o'clock if you're in the UK or Ireland or the Canary Islands, 10 o'clock if you're in Spain, Central Europe, 4 o'clock in the morning if you're in New York. Yes, we had somebody else telling us what the time was where they were, but can't remember now. That's all for this week. Somebody pass around the very healthy Ask Us Anything cookies, sugar-free. And peace and love, peas and fluff. And here's one final message from all of us here at YouTooSpain. Bye, lads. Bye.
Goodbye. Toodaloo.
Peace and love.
Peas and fluff. Oi, oi. Don't do anything I wouldn't do.
One more cosmic dance?
All right then. Look, Mum, I'm dancing.
Oh, I'm all a quiver.
Let's dance.